Hello, everyone. A coach is someone who sees beyond your limits and guides you to greatness. Coaching is the universal language of change and learning. Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Daily Life Hero podcast. I'm thrilled to have you with us today as we continue the journey towards the living a more purposeful and fulfilling life. It's your host, Rachna Khanna, and I've got something very, very special today. Before we deep dive in, I just want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you. We have just reached a milestone of 7,000 subscribers on YouTube. Your support means everything to me. Thank you so much. And I couldn't be more grateful than this to have such an amazing community just like you. If you enjoy our episodes and find value in the conversations and insights that we share, please don't forget to subscribe and share the Daily Life Hero podcast with your friends, family, so that you can spread the positivity and inspire people together. This is an invitation to go deep with you. Now, without further ado, let's jump on to today's episode where I'll be taking and talking to a special guest who helps other people transform their lives through kindness. Yes, you heard that right, kindness. I'm truly excited to introduce a phenomenal guest who brings a wealth of wisdom, compassion, transformative guidance to those seeking a more fulfilling and authentic life. She is a dedicated coach who empowers individuals through one on one coaching, online groups, webinars, and workshops. Her unique model revolves around kindness, helping people not only achieve their goals, but also live every day with a purpose and joy. How beautiful is that? She helps them discover themselves, embrace their inner light, be a bright light. She's a founder of Caddy Coaching, consulting service. Her famous toolkit, 20 Steps to Self Love, is a proven resource. She guides you to find a calmer, more focused version of yourself. Today, she's here with us, and I can't wait for her to join us. Let's put our hands together and welcome our daily life hero, Kathryn. Please come here and grace us with your presence.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
Wow. What
hello.
an introduction.
Oh, you deserve
So
this and
beautiful.
you deserve so much more. I'm going to remove pin and I'm going to get into the gallery. Here you are.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Great
much
to
for
connect.
joining.
Yeah, what a wonderful introduction and so deep felt and original and authentic. I've seen it right here on the screen. Not one of those rehashed do the same thing all the time. It's a one and only unique and authentic introduction. So thank you.
Because you are unique, Kathryn. Just before we go into our conversation, which is going to be absolutely nothing short of amazing, I just want to tell our listeners that when I met you for the first time, you know, there was such bubbliness, a life, a life to learn, a life of full of curiosity. And I still remember that when I was having my mobile and I was shooting everywhere, it just said, hello. And it was so beautiful. There was no reluctance to just embrace that moment. So thank you for giving me that opportunity to hug you, know you, and welcome you today on our podcast. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a great reminder that often we are our more unique and real selves when we're around other people that are being unique and real themselves. That in that particular environment, when we did meet, it was like a really safe place and
Yeah.
a beautiful opportunity to grow and expand. So, yeah, I get it for any of your listeners who are like, I have to wear a mask when I'm in certain places.
Mm.
But in certain environments, I can just come out and be me. And it's such a great privilege to be able to do that. And the fact that we were able to be ourselves and connect is just another whole nother level.
Absolutely, so true. And I'm so delighted that now we are going to share something that makes you who you are. And what is it that people love about you? So I'm curious and I would love our listeners to know about you. So tell us your story. What inspired you to become a coach? What inspired you to have that focus of kindness and self-love? Tell us everything.
Wow, that's a big lesson. And before I forget, 7,000 followers. Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, my journey as far as a coach goes, this is like quite vulnerable, so and authentic, I guess. And I haven't really had a lot of chance to share it, but it starts in September 2018.
Mm.
So I was in my mid to late 40s at that particular time, and I had my children. I have 5 children, healthy, grown up, and my youngest had reached what would she have been, about 10, I think, at that time.
Mhm.
And so life was getting a little easier as far as not having to mother them all the time.
Mhm.
But for those who have teenagers, right, we know it gets a whole nother level for that. But I had just found that I was numb, and
Mhm.
my emotions were just not there.
Mhm.
Not that I was aware of that at the particular time, but I knew that my spark had died. Like, I knew there was something that just was not happening inside me, and I could feel this veil of almost depression and darkness in my life. And I was trying desperately to find different ways to connect with it. And unbeknownst to me, I wasn't aware of that to be able to verbalize that back then. I could only verbalize it through doing this process. And I met, and one of my passions was horses. I love horses, and I've always felt an affinity with them. And I met a coach who was doing life coaching and giving confidence lessons, and I
Mm.
connected with her. And she basically looked at me straight in the face
Mm.
within 10 minutes and said to me, Kathryn, you are not feeling. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm not feeling? I got a lot of emotions happening right now:
Mm.
disappointment, sadness, frustration, anger. She goes, no, you're not allowing those feelings inside. There's something that's connected that's disconnected inside you, and you don't feel it internally. And
Mm.
I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Mm.
And I just rejected everything. And then she said something which was, I hope it's okay to say here, but she said it's linked with some trauma that you've had in your childhood that's not been dealt with.
Mm.
And when she said that, I could feel just myself go pale, and I just shut down and didn't say anything. And then
Mm.
she went on to do her next person and everything like that, and went on. And it was that moment that, like, time kind of froze, and I had my very first panic attack.
Mm.
And I didn't know what I was dealing with. So I went way off, and I hope this is okay. It's probably a long story.
Yes.
Cut me off anytime. But I went off into the distance because I had no idea what was happening. And I
Mm.
went off on my own, which was probably not the greatest thing to do, but I didn't know what was going on.
Mm.
And I couldn't breathe. I couldn't, I thought I was having a heart attack. I thought I was dying. And I was
Mm.
like, I just didn't know what I was doing. Like, my life just literally was falling apart in front of my eyes, and I didn't know what to do. And it was all in my head. Like, in retrospect, I can look back to that. But when you're in the moment, it's the most intense feeling, if you've ever had a panic attack,
Mm.
where everything just seems so much more brighter and so much more bigger, and you're dying, and literally like 100 people are chasing you with spears and stuff.
Mm.
um, and that happened in 2 waves. And I rang my husband, and I said, and I had my horse still there, I said, I don't think I can drive. I said, I don't know what I can do. And he said, look, just take your time, do whatever, and when you feel okay, let us know what you're doing and that. And I said, yeah, I need to follow this journey through.
Mm.
So we came home, and it was like that saying, the cat out of the bag. It was like, it was just confronting me, and I knew I needed to deal with it.
Mm.
The ironic part is that I had spent my whole life trying to avoid dealing with the very thing that now was in my face. I had as a teenager, I had some things happen to me that should never have happened to anyone.
Mm.
And rather than deal with it, I had told nobody except my husband.
Mm.
And I didn't know how to deal with that personally, but I thought I was strong enough and independent enough. And so when I went to university, which, by the way, I didn't do until my first child had been born, and I had another child that didn't survive, but that's a whole nother story. And I decided I'm going to go to uni. So I went to uni. This is a long story. I hope this is okay to tell the long.
Absolutely. We want to hear, people want to hear. And I'm so grateful to you that you're sharing with us. Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope this is not upsetting anybody. And you know, I'm fine now, and there's hope for that, right?
Mm.
Um, and I call that moment, by the way, my Pandora's box moment, because
Mm.
literally all the atrocities of the world came out at that moment.
Mm.
A fascinating side story about Pandora's box, if you ever get a chance to Google it or
Mm.
look at it. At the bottom of the box, when all the atrocities had come out and she'd lost all kind of, you know, everything was bad and everything was out in the world, in the bottom of the box was a little spark of hope. And that was what I
Mm.
found.
Mm.
I didn't find it for some time. It took me a while, but I
Mm.
did find it. So that's a side story. Back to my actual story. I At that particular time, I connected with a coach. And so I had gone to university, and I studied psychology, 3 years of psychology at university, through La Trobe University. I did my Bachelor of Arts just before I did my dip ed. And because people had said to me, you, Kathryn, you're just a woman, you just stay home, you just have babies. I'm like,
Mm.
wasn't fulfilling for me.
Mm.
I needed more. Anyway, I am going on lots of different tangents.
And I'm so glad that you're bringing all of you, and our listeners would see that and appreciate and respect that. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Please
Yeah,
share your story. We want to know that.
yeah, thank you. So I had thought I was stronger and that I would deal with anything that came my way. I had dealt with a mum that had bipolar, and I was not going to go down that road. And I did not
Mm.
want to be emotionally imbalanced.
Mm.
So what had happened as a result is I had become emotionally void. And I didn't know and didn't realize that. So it's interesting how the very thing that you resist persists. And in a sense, I needed a psychologist. And I was fortunate, after trying a couple, that I found a really good one who I was connected with, and helped me work through a lot of these issues and a lot of these problems, and opened up a whole new pathway of possibilities and abundance, or just like the things that I have experienced and learned about myself and
Mm.
about the world is just like, it's like as if, at that moment, the old me, the old Kathryn, did die, went down that path, that numbness, and burnt out. But as a result, it's like that phoenix, you know, the phoenix that bursts back into flames.
Mm.
Like, and then as from the emergence of the ash, out came this amazing, colorful abundance of life that I had been missing.
Mm.
That, you know, the moment where you stop and you watch a piece of grass that's just sitting in the ground, and you think,
Mm.
how splendid it is that that's just one unique piece of grass and I can pick it and look at it, you know, or appreciating a beautiful sunset, or looking in the eyes of your children, or, you know, like just taking moments in time when they're so rich and colorful, and appreciating them, because right now you can be in the present and you can appreciate what's there. That was just phenomenal, the most amazing experience. I would go through what I went through 100 times in order to be able to be in this position now, where I can see the world through the lens of open eyes and
Mm.
open heart, and be and that's where the self-love comes in. So through the process, at first I couldn't love myself. I hated myself. I rejected myself. I was ashamed of myself. I had a lot of guilt,
Mm.
and a lot of disgust for myself. But as I learned to grow and move through this fear and through the healing and the growing, I realized there's nothing actually wrong with me at all.
Mm.
That I am just unique and fallible, and um, I keep going back to the word authentic. I'm a one of a kind, and that's like that piece of grass. That piece of grass seems insignificant to everybody else, but it's the most significant thing in my life is me, and that's always going to be the case. And I'd had it right there, staring it in the face, like knowing this is me, and I've been ignoring me this whole time, 40 years of not giving myself any attention, not giving myself any love. And I realized that I was missing out. I was missing out because I wasn't loving myself. I wasn't able to love anyone else. And so, yeah, the process, and it's an ever evolving process, as you know, it's one thing. And every time you cross a new pathway, it's just like it's another progress and another progress. And your world just expands. And you think it can't possibly get more. There can't possibly be more there. And then, bam, there's more there. It's like
There's
literally
always,
the sky's the limit. There is no limit.
yeah.
There's no limit to the capability and the scope of what exists outside. It's just phenomenal. So, yeah, that's how it started. When I discovered all this stuff, I'm like, no one should go through life the way I was going through life. Everyone deserves an opportunity to open their hearts and open their eyes to the world that actually exists right here. That amongst all that, the darkness and the black, on the opposite side is all the light and the color. All you have to do is flip the coin. All you have to do is open your eyes. All you have to do is light the candle, and everything becomes so much more clearer. So yeah, so that's where I decided the very thing that helped me, I want to do to help others as well. And I thought about doing psychology. I thought about doing therapy. I thought about doing all these different things. And I thought, you know what? No, what I want to do is just be the person who shines that torch for other people to make their own discoveries, because that's where empowerment comes. Empowerment comes from not me doing it for them or not me teaching them. It's about them learning. One of my key values is learning. And I know when people learn, I watch their eyes light up, because part of my journey has to become a teacher. And I now have been at the school I'm at for 10 years. I teach year 11s and 12s. And one of the subjects I teach is psychology. The other one is English. And I am so passionate about language. Language and words, they're so important. How we speak to ourselves, how we speak to others, how we communicate is incredible. And I see so many individual, unique faces sitting in those classrooms, and they're at such vulnerable positions in their life. And I'm hoping that in some ways I might just make a difference in one of those lives, that they can go on, and that chain reaction of them going on and making a difference in other people's lives. Yeah, it's just inspiring and beautiful. And so, yeah, I feel like one of my sayings is I help hurt hearts heal. And that's what I want to do. I want people to come with hurt hearts, and I want them to heal, and I want them to not come to me and then rely on me. I want them to come to me and rely on themselves, so that they take their messages to the world. It's a long way to get to where I got, but yeah. So that's part of it.
So powerful and so profound. Everything that you have mentioned, you're talking to my heart, right? It's what people don't realize, and I invite our listeners to just listen to this piece, what Kathryn has just mentioned to us, that it wasn't one day that it transformed. It took her time to establish and realize what she's meant, especially the self-love, where you did not realize who you are, where there was a rejection, there was a self-criticism, not giving permission to just be. And then that growth and that panic attack, that changes, that transformation, that Pandora box. Oh my God. People need to listen to this, because this is who we become. after we just accept who we are. And your story is so inspiring because you changed it.
Mm,
You did not go back to your old story that no, I want to blame others. I want to keep telling this is who I've become. This is what life is meant to be. You challenged your story. You changed your story. And this is what you're doing so precious. You're healing the hearts to
yeah. And
be the
it's
beautiful
not that
end.
it's a big change. It's the
Mm.
little changes that make
Yes.
the difference. Like people often say metamorphosis, where you go into a cocoon and you come out a butterfly. It's
Mm.
just once. You got to do it 100 times. It's a revolution. It's like a tire. It's not like just become the butterfly once and fly off and live happily ever after. This is not a fairy tale. This is
Mm.
life. And
Mm.
life is about seasons. We go round and round and round. We have the sun comes up, the sun goes down, the sun comes up, the sun goes down. And that's what it is. It's light and darkness. In order to feel happy, we feel sad. It is a wave. It's like an ocean, waves in and out. So much stuff in nature shows us that it's a cycle. It's a cycle of life. And so we'll never get to the place where we'll go, right, I finally know exactly who I am, and that's who I'm going to be for the rest of my life. It's an evolution. It's how we are changing and growing and developing that green and growing process. Yeah.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
like breathe in, breathe out.
Yes,
You
exactly.
change, breathe.
Yes.
People often would tell me that, what do you mean breathe in? We are breathing. Am I not breathing? And I said, no, you're not breathing. Breathe to life.
Mm. Yeah.
You're just in your flight mode. You're just flying. You're just not stopping. Breathing gives you pause. You just
Yes.
pause.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's a beautiful way of breathing in. When you start breathing into your life, it is magic. You just need to tap in. And that's exactly what you mentioned right now. That it's not once. We don't breathe once. We breathe every microsecond of our life. We are changing every microsecond. And that's the power that you just mentioned we have. Evolve and be you because it makes you beautiful and unique.
Mm. Yeah.
I'm so curious now because I understand that this is your power, this is your love that you offer to people. I'm curious if you could let me know how does, if you were to give it to our listeners, maybe 3 or 4 steps, how does that self love journey looks like?
Wow.
How do they incorporate those, steps of kindness and that love that they can feel for themselves?
Yeah, I think you tapped and basically right into it, and it's the power of the pause. It's
Mm,
being able to actually pause and stop and bring awareness to what's actually going on.
mm,
Because in a moment when you're about to go into your old patterns of believing of this and believing that and believing that, before you did that,
mm,
something happened. So if
mm,
we can pause and slow that down and
mm,
work out what it is that set that little switch that
mm,
made us head down that track, and
mm,
instead switch it to another part, then how life can be so different. Instead of that self-abusive language, you stupid idiot, you shouldn't have done that.
mm,
What do you think? What were you thinking? Nobody really cares about you. You're not enough. You're not lovable. All those ones, right? If at that moment, before we thought about that thing, before we did that straight down the railway line,
mm,
if we were able to catch it and instead go, oh, that's because you have a past wound that made you do that. Or, oh, this is where we really need to give ourselves a big hug. Or, oh, maybe if I just wait a few moments, that feeling will pass. Like that power of the pause is just everything. And breathing through the power of pause, whoa, that's a whole nother level.
Oh, I love that. You know what? This is so powerful, Catherine. You just mentioned and you just hit my heart there because yes, the power of pause is very important, but the way you explained, and I really want our listeners to pay attention to this because this was very powerful what you just mentioned. Is this is what I try and explain that what if you were in a building and you have to go into the elevator to reach to your floor. You will not reach your floor unless you press that button that you want to reach to, for example, 10th floor. So from 0th floor to 10th floor, there is a space that you need to fill in. What do you want to fill in with? And that's exactly beautifully you said is the pause, that you have time before you go into your old pattern. Then, oh my God, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. You have those microseconds to just be pause. 0, 1, 2, 3, and you have your 10th floor, it'll reach. But just how about you allow yourself to be? That is
Mm.
such a powerful tool. And I so appreciate you, Kathryn, for sharing this with us, because I think that's the first step that people most often forget.
And you know what? It isn't easy. Like the
Mhm.
first time I did meditation where
Yeah.
I had to stop
Mm.
and do nothing, oh my gosh, talk about panic attacks. It's like silly. Well, it's not really silly, but it was for me. I look back on it now, and I had to set my mobile phone and on for 20 seconds to go 20 seconds, sit and do and think nothing for 20
Nothing.
seconds. 20 seconds feels like an hour when you have to sit and do nothing for a person who's active all
Yeah.
the time,
Yeah.
right? It's like sit and think about nothing. Are you telling me I'm an airplane that I just stopped flying? Like, no, like I can't do that. And I was like, and so I had to set myself a goal of just going, just stop for the moment.
Yeah.
Just set yourself a little tiny 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And now I can get further and further. I can do a meditation now.
Yeah.
And as a result, I have this amazing ability most of the time, don't hold me to it, to switch my mind off to go to sleep so that I'm normally asleep within 5 minutes of my head hitting the pillow. Because I literally say to myself, I'm going to sleep now. And I hit the pillow and I sleep. All the worries and everything that comes in has been taught to wait now, like, or to, or to put to the side for the moment.
Yeah.
I try very hard. See, this is one of my other tips
Mm.
is never dismiss things and shut them down or
Mm.
shove them away,
Mm.
because they will come back and bite you twice as hard,
Yeah.
right? If you're afraid of something,
Mm.
don't run away from it. And this is where me and therapy have a little bit of a disagreement,
Mm.
because therapy says, I'm going to help you get rid of your fears.
Yeah.
Doesn't work. Never works. Never works, because you can't get rid of something that exists. It's always going to exist. You're always going to feel sad about certain things. It's how can you handle that thing in your mind to a place where you can live as fulfilling as possible, and to a space where you can give it more space to have other things come in. I love to do this example, like with this pen. So I do this thing with the red and blue pens, right?
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys can see. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
So we might have, let's say, green is a negative thought,
Mm.
right? I'm really sad because something happened, right?
Mm.
And pink is like our happy thoughts,
Mm.
right? When things get really bad, these come forward, and they tend to outshadow the good, happy things, right? And they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because we're not dealing with that.
Yep.
We're not giving them space. So what we have to do, what do we have to do? Do we just say, just ignore it? It's right there. Ignore it. Just ignore it. Just get rid of it. Just throw it away. It's not going to happen. It can't happen.
Yeah.
So instead we go, okay, I see you. What do you want me to do? I see you. What do you want me to do with you, fear? Oh, you want me to understand you. And as you listen to it, it comes back and it sits in its place. And you go, you know what? You're welcome. You can join my bus. I love the bus analogy. Love the bus. All parts are welcome.
Yeah.
All parts are welcome in our bus.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has to take a back seat.
Yeah.
Because I ain't going to let a 3-year-old drive my car.
Oh, that was lovely. And I get it. And I loved it. If I do hope our listeners enjoy this, because this is super awesome. What you just said. I love all my parts, but I cannot have my 3-year-old driving bus.
Yes. The wisest
Totally
person
love
in the
it.
steering wheel is the
With
present me.
me. is the adult me. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
Love it. Love, love, love it.
Sometimes I have to pull over and park in order
Yeah.
to deal with all the stuff in the back, because sometimes driving and trying to deal with all those
Yeah.
parts,
Mm-hmm.
we do need to pull over because it's a bit dangerous. But really, if we want to go somewhere, get in the driver's seat and drive that car,
Yeah, take control.
drive that van.
Yeah. You are the driver of your bus. You are the
That's
driver of your body. You're the driver
yes,
of your breath. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And I do probably have to give some credit here to one of my mentors, who is a amazing counselor and therapist. She's a coach, therapist, psychologist, therapist, and her name is Julia Christina, and she lives in Canada. And she actually wrote a book called Drive Your Darn Bus. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the philosophies that she taught me has just worn off on me. Like, she's quite a lot into CBT, and I believe it's thoughts, right? Thoughts are the things that get in our
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
So I have to give her some credit here, because she's taught a lot of what I've used. And she's an incredible woman. She has a YouTube. If you want to look at it, you can watch her YouTubes. However, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity to bring my uniqueness,
Mm.
and my words and my language. I
Yep.
think is
Yeah.
something that I'm very grateful for. Never
Yeah.
really realized it, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Language is
Beautiful.
amazing.
Beautiful. That was a great acknowledgement. And I love that you are paying it forward back to your,
Totally.
yeah, your person that who has given you or guided you to the path where you are. That is
Mhm.
beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
And I promise we are reaching towards the end of the episode, but I won't hold you for long. I was curious that, you know, some sometimes people find it very difficult and they come up with a situation. You you are able to guide them through that whatever situation they are in, because there are steps and there are steps that lead the path to them. What could you tell to our listeners who may be considering coaching or other therapy sessions? What do you think you could suggest or advise them? What is first step that they need to do to overcome whatever is stopping them to become them? What is one suggestion or advice would you give it?
Ooh, that's a big one. I think there isn't just one,
Mm,
but one of them is to trust themselves,
mm,
which can be really big when what they're looking for is the fact that they don't trust themselves, their world's falling apart. However,
mm,
be like, trust your intuition. Like, when I went first got into counseling and went and looked at therapists, someone once said to me, coaches, counselors, all those type of things are like hairdressers.
mm.
You go to them, you try them out. If you don't like them, move on,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Find someone else, because there's someone out there who you can build a trust with
Mm,
and who you can build safety.
mm,
And when you're in that position where you can trust
mm,
them and you can build safety,
mm,
that's when your world can expand. So trust that you know what's best for you.
mm,
That's what that self-love is. It's actually self-trust. It's
mm,
trusting that you have an inner guide at light. You have your own inner guide. You're capable,
mm,
whatever person you are. You've got 100% to where
mm,
you have now every day. You've survived 100% of every day,
mm,
right? So far, to
mm,
get you where you are now. You might have brought along a whole heap of baggage, and you might be dragging this huge heavy wagon along with you,
mm,
but you have got to where you have now.
mm,
And so trusting that you find someone. So when you find and you connect with someone, if that person feels a little off, or they feel like they're just trying to grab your money, or they're trying to do a quick, yeah, thank you very much. No, I don't think we're going to work out,
mm,
you know? And then keep trying, because there are genuine people out there who, like you, Rachna, who
mm,
actually genuinely care.
mm, mm,
Right? That's what we want. We want genuine people out there that genuinely care,
mm,
to connect, and we want to give coaching a good name.
mm,
So get out there and trust your intuition. Trust your
mm,
intuition
mm.
and the process. Trust the process. If you find someone who you can trust, yeah, that would be probably one of my biggest advices.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is deep and that is profound. And I think that's where my journey started when my father asked me a question, when did you stop trusting God? And I started walking on that question. And I said, did I stop trusting God or did I stop trusting myself? And that
Yeah.
was the transition in my life
Wow.
because many other things. And yeah, that was
What a harsh thing to say to somebody.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and that's, isn't that interesting? Because it's what people say, that shooting and that words that they place on us. And it's like that ratty old ugly jumper that somebody gave you and said, here, wear this. Oh, why aren't you wearing that ugly jumper in the middle of summer? You know, just because you gave it to me doesn't mean I have to wear it. Thank you very much. I appreciate what you're doing and now you're giving it to me, but it doesn't fit me very comfortably and it's not appropriate right now. But I still appreciate what you gave me. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. But I'll do me. Thank you very much.
Still so comforting, straightforward, and being authentic. Thank you.
Mm.
That was another very beautiful tip you just gave it to us. Thank you. And I was curious, and I hope our listeners are curious by now. If anyone wants to work with you, where can they find you? And how is it that they can approach you? Is the way that they can find you?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question. I am on Facebook quite a bit. So people can reach out to me on Facebook or Messenger and send me a message at the moment. Or I do have a website that is in the building. It's starting to be constructed at the moment. If you do Google for Kady Connect, that's like Kady, like my logo here.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and join and do a Google for that. I think it will come up in there somewhere. If not, yeah, look out for me. I'm Kathryn Dore and my business that way. Yeah. And my business is Kady Connect. And yeah. Well, and the Kady is interesting story as well because KD is my initials, right?
Yeah.
But the Kady as in the word is kindling awareness and discovering you,
Oh, I
which is what
love
that
that.
program is. It's about kindling that little fire inside of you and
Yeah.
bringing your awareness to life and
Yeah.
then discovering who you really are. So,
Ooh,
yeah,
that is so profound and deep and powerful. This is beautiful, and I'm sure people would love it. And I just want to tell you, Kathryn, that this has been such a beautiful conversation. I always love talking to different coaches, but this one is at another level. How you have just shared your story with us with so much bravery and being vulnerable. Sometimes people find it difficult, but you kept it that way, as gentle, as kind as your program is about self love. Thank you
totally.
so much. And I really want to wish all your future projects and all your endeavors all the best. And I hope to connect with you again with your new project, whatever, whenever you're ready to launch it,
Totally.
anything that you bring us. And I would want our listeners to have a look and absolutely make beautiful utility out of it. Thank you so
We
much.
are connected, Rachna. There is no disconnecting us. There is something magical between us. We will be connected for life, I'm sure.
Thank you so much. And before we end, I have this inspirational quote, and I absolutely love it. This is from Steve Jobs, which totally aligns to what Kathryn just said. The only way to do a great work is to love what you do,
Mm,
which means you can love yourself and automatically everything else follows. In a
mm,
gentle way, you can shape the world. Just
mm.
start with you. Thank you so much for listening, listeners. I hope you do enjoy. I hope you have loved this episode. If you do, and if there is someone out there who may need this information, don't hesitate to share. I invite you to just enjoy, be you, and we love you. Thank you so much and have a beautiful life ahead. Bye for now.